Hey everybody, it's Bust with Bust Builds Decks number 32. Today we will be taking our 4-star Misfortune. Look at that, not 3 stars anymore. She's up to 4, up against the 4-star quest of the Star Forger with Aurelion Soul. And so this is going to be our first Constellations gameplay video. I've already upgraded my Misfortune a little bit. We can pull her up real quick and talk about this new kit that she's going to have going forward. And so as far as the constellations go, the bottom triangle down here, the Misfortune's belt, if you will, that is the old version of stars, if you will. If you remember seeing nothing but powder monkeys, the round start, if you have the attack token, you summon a powder monkey. That is the typical 1-star Misfortune power. The 2 stars, you get the 1 starting mana, and then when allies attack, you draw a unit, and then at the 3 stars, you would just get round start a powder monkey. And so that's the classical Misfortune, if you will. But we have upgraded our constellation quite a bit, so our Misfortune is going to be much more high powered, and we're really looking to build around some of these new synergies. And so the things that I want to call out here that you may not be familiar with is we have upgraded to the Star of Legend. So our support champions have the Hunter's Machete. So as we jump into the early rounds of the event where you pick the supporting champion, you get the 3 choices of champion. They typically have random support items. They're now going to have Hunter's Machete. So we're going to be guaranteed to have some additional scout units within Misfortune's deck. Very powerful with just how strong Scout is in general, but also how you can use it to quickly level up your Misfortune. The one that I'm going to be building around mainly today is using Yip's Genius. So when you summon a 1-cost ally, you grant it +2/+2. We'll circle back to that in just a little bit, but that is going to be our big build around component today. Over here on the other side, I have unlocked the Star of Discovery. So followers you acquire in adventures that cost 2 or less have studded leather. And so as we're adding cards to our deck, we're really getting a benefit from adding cheaper units within our deck. And so interesting stuff there. And so with Misfortune, the thing that I always like to call out with a Path of Champions deck is you need 3 things, right? You need scaling, you need a way to elusive, overwhelm, or rally, and then you need a way to unconditionally remove a unit. So if you're facing down a 15/15 overwhelming champion from the opponent, you need a way to stun it, recall it, vengeance it, whatever. And so to speak to that towards Misfortune today, in terms of scaling, we are set. This is how I'm looking to really take advantage of Misfortune within this video, is we're going to be using the Succubus's brand. It gives Misfortune +1/+1, and then when she kills a unit, you summon a random husk. Now, if you think your way back to the Von Yip's Genius that we picked out of the constellation, all of these husks that we're summoning are 1-cost units, so they're going to have +2/+2. So ideally, what we're going to be able to do with this is use the Misfortune Love Tap to kind of AoE down the opposing board and then summon a bunch of bonus stat husks that we can then use to make some gigantic units. And so that's going to be the scaling component that we're trying to bring forth out of this, is using the Succubus's brand along with the Von Yip's thing to make some really big husks and then soak up all of the additional stats from those husks on our units. You get the opportunity to maybe get double bonus from the Von Yip's Genius, in the sense that if you have a husk on board, it's got the +2/+2 from the Genius, and then if you play another 1-cost unit, that unit's going to get the +2/+2 as well. Just gives you a nice way to really ramp up with all of those smaller units. In terms of the other things here, I still like the Lost Chapter with Misfortune. Her deck has not changed too much, and so just having her come down on board and then be able to cast a Make It Rain or something is not a terrible thing to have access to. I'm not really stoked about too many of the other smaller Misfortune plays, although I could see perhaps coming in and using maybe a Ravenous Hydra or something, right, where you get to come down and deal damage to all the opposing units on board. Let's just go ahead and do that. Let's actually pull in the Hydra and see how that goes today. I'll forget about it because I'm so used to using Lost Chapter, but maybe we'll get something interesting out of this, really tie it home with the Succubus's brand. And so as far as the other things go, the elusive, overwhelm, or rally, we have a touch within the deck here. Nothing really locked in with it, in the sense that, you know, we have Misfortune that flips into having Overwhelm. The Slippery Wave Rider has Elusive, but we're going to be searching for some way to just close out the game through the opposing board. Just having the powder monkeys come up each turn typically isn't enough. Otherwise, that unconditional removal spell is going to be the challenging thing to find. As we look to, the kit within Bilgewater, Bilgewater just has the most absolute dogshit collection of removal within the game. And so we're going to definitely look towards a faction within our support champions that can give us a little bit better removal. Something like Ionia for stuns or recalls, something like Demacia for captures, something like Shadow Isles for a vengeance style of card. And so we'll see how that turns up. Those are the things we're going to be looking forward to here. I'm curious to how much easier this Aurelion Soul adventure is going to be now that we are on the 4-star level up against the 4-star Aurelion Soul. Going to hopefully be an interesting battle. And so again, I'm trying to work on the new format here now that we've switched from playing Constructed to Path of Champions as our kind of bread and butter content creation thing. Please let me know if you like how the format goes with this, to where we're going to look at all of the deck building things. And so we're going to look at the power and talk about it, the champion selection up here and talk about it all throughout the course of the thing. But I'm going to skip over a lot of the gameplay. I'm just going to kind of fast forward through it as the video plays along, and then just talk about the mini-boss battles, which will be against Tahm Kench and against Miss Fortune, and then talk about the Aurelion Soul battle at the end. It's just, as I don't skip over stuff, these videos all turn out to be like 2 hours long, and that's just way too long. I want it to be 30 to 45 minutes. This one will be a little bit longer with some of the Constellation chat, but if you like it, dislike it, improvements to make, please let me know, and I'll hopefully get some of that stuff incorporated. But all right, jumping into battle, starting with the powers, what do we got here? And so your spells and skills deal 2 extra damage. This is just going to be fucking bonkers, right? We've just really picked up everything. Now, I'm not certain if Ravenous Hydra is a skill. I think when you play Ravenous Hydra, it doesn't put the skill circle on the map and it just like burst speed damages everything. But having 3 damage love taps with this deck that we're trying to pull off, this is just going to be insane. This is going to be bonkers. Like, I'm very happy with how quickly we're going to be able to get through this. And so that's going to be good. Otherwise, things like quick draw are pretty strong with Misfortune. You do get to draw every time you attack, so you're typically drawing 2 and 3 and 4 cards a turn. Getting the mana cheat on that is pretty good. I do not like Grit, but Elemental Winds it is. This is going to be good stuff. We're going to jump on into battle with Gangplank. All right, and so the post-battle spoils, not the greatest collection of cards, but not something I'm really interested in re-rolling, right? We didn't get any of those super cheap cards that we're going to get bonuses off across the course of the game. No studded leather bonus cheap plays, but I think the Golden Aegis is probably going to be the way we want to go about here. I mean, picking up a 10-10 Masa is not that bad. That is a very stat-effective way to push through the games. Man, how wild does that sound to be like, yeah, I don't really want this 10-10 impact for 3 mana. I would prefer something a little bit better. But let's take the Golden Aegis. Having the rallies out of this style of deck are incredibly strong. We don't have any way to rally on the opposing turn, and this does fix our problem of Elusive Overwhelm or Rally, right? So all we really need to have a very cohesive deck from this point forward is going to be picking up some kind of unconditional removal spell. So now into the support champion. Oh, interesting. All of the champions have 2 items. I thought it was just going to replace what they had access to, but you can see Jack here with the Regenerate and the Scout. You can see Caitlyn here with the Power Riff, which makes her cheaper in the Scout, and then last but not least Rek'Sai with something that literally never matters along with Scout. Just absolutely never taking Rek'Sai. And so with these, like, I'm kind of interested in the Caitlyn package. Like, having her come down cheap is very easy to do, given that we draw a card after every time we attack, but it doesn't solve our removal spell problem. And so I'm going to keep pushing forward here. I want to find a faction that it has good removal, and Bilgewater and PNZ just don't have it. So let's take a reroll. After that, there is a TEEMO. Oh man, we just got to take this TEEMO, don't we? We could just, we have actually 2 choices here, right? And so we have this just complete package with, we've got TEEMO, he's got the scout, he draws if he's not in our opening hand. This TEEMO's just bonkers. We're going to have to go this route. But it doesn't have removal, right? Being in P&Z kind of sucks. Down here at the end, we do have access to Annie. The entirety of the Annie kit, starting with the plus the hunt. Does she not get it? Just the followers get it. I was gonna say everybody starting with studded leather is kind of crazy, but Annie does get you very easy access to Disintegrate, which is a fantastic removal spell, especially in the sense that Misfortune love taps should be activating the Disintegrate before the combat hits, so you don't have to trade your unit away. You just get to love tap and disintegrate the unit down. But man, just getting this like scout TEEMO right out the gates is just going to be so bonkers. He gets the bonus from the Von Yips thing. He gets the bonus from the Hunter's Machete. I'm on board. Let's just go. Let's get it done. All right, cool. So with our next selection, man, I'm so interested in just the Treasured Trash. What a fantastic way to close out the game. The Treasured Trash with Rally, but both of these cards are in our deck, and I do love upgrading the cards that already exist. And so the Jagged Butcher with the Spell Shield or the Hired Gun with the Noxan Might, the Noxan Elixir of Wrath, if you will. I'm leaning towards just taking the Hired Gun. Just going to give us a little bit more interactivity. We don't need cards like Jagged Butcher with TEEMO starting in our opening hand every game, and so I'm going to look to start just kind of cutting cards from this point forward, and Hired Gun at least gives us vulnerable to pull units into Misfortune hooks and stuff. So then, moving into the item chest, what do we got here? Anything interesting? Just keep loading it up. Just put everything on the Hired Gun. Drop a little Spirit on her as well. Sure. Now, I'm going to go for it. The interesting thing with the Hired Gun is, like, maybe we should just be taking this Crackshot Corsair. Like, my problem with the Hired Gun, I should say, is the way we want all of our games to curve is going to be TEEMO on turn 1 and Misfortune on turn 2, and you can't fit Hired Guns in that curve. And so maybe we do pick up the Crackshot Corsair so that our curve can be like TEEMO, Crackshot Corsair. The Crackshot Corsair does 3 damage on every hit because of our elemental power. And so, like, it's just a massive, massive chunk of damage. All right, let's take it. I'm convinced. We'll try and cut the Jagged Butcher out of the deck. Oops, I knew I was going to do this before long. I forgot to hit the record button as we finished off the Karma battle. And so to recap what happened through here, we hit the Fallen Feline. There was just a bunch of garbage stuff in here, so we burned a reroll and then skipped it and didn't feel too great about that. When we hit the shop, we were blessed with Domination. So we picked up a copy of Domination out of here. Our deck is completely insane with the addition from Domination. We picked up an additional card as well. What was it? What was it? It was the mana refill thing. We hit the Bottled Constellation to fill our manas back up, and so very happy with how the things were going there. As we hit through Tom Kench, the card coming out of it was not impressive. With the powers here, we picked up Higher Education. So we had the choice between Enfeebling Strike, which is quite good with Misfortune's Love Tap. So if we Love Tap, we don't kill off the unit, then we at least get to shrink its attack power as we come in. But Higher Education was also in here, which is going to work very nicely with our Misfortunes ability to draw cards on every attack. So we'll attack with TEEMO, everybody gets +1 attack. We'll make our normal attack for the turn, everybody gets +1 attack. And go into the next turn, rally, attack, Golden Aegis attack, get all these bonuses. It's going to be exceptionally strong. And so, sorry I skipped the Tahm Kench battle. It was not interesting. You missed out on nothing. And so, now we'll just push forward. I'll tell you what, I'll talk through the Poppy battle. How's that sound? You get to continue hearing a touch of my voice. Brighten up your day. You say, I miss out on Tahm Kench. You got to give me something. You got to toss me a nugget, a love bust. And I'll say, all right, I got you with the Poppy here. And so, take the full mulligan. We're just going to look for misfortunes off of the mulligan. No need to dig for Teemos since we're just going to draw him at the game start anyways. Now, I wouldn't be opposed, like with Crackshot Corsair, to potentially hang on to Crackshot Corsair because he is so good in the early game with... this does 3 damage, right? He is so good in the early game along with TEEMO, but we'll see how this plays out. So now I really want to get the Nora off of the board. I assume he's going to block. All right, so this is a pretty decent turn 1 Nora. It just shuts down our TEEMO. Nothing we can really do about it, but I would like to remove her from the board. So we got the 3 damage Poison Dart. Get the 8 damage coming in off of the Powder Monkey. What a joke. What a joke these cards are. Now let's just cruise on in. So we are going to want a scout unit. Would have been cool if something turned up. It didn't. We'll just add in Misfortune.
Nothing but powder monkeys.
Jack turns up. Man. He's just immediately drawing all of his Mega Champions. We're still fine. Like, there's no way we're going to lose this game, but... You gotta make sure to tell your opponent how lucky they are at every opportunity. Look at that Powder Monkey just tearing through Jack as well. He hits his portal. That's what the Lucksters of the world do. Striking away Misfortune is kind of fine. I guess we could just like double up Jack and not lose her. And then immediately attack and have the game end. Is that how that's going to go?
Keep firing till they're dead on the ground.
Yeah, the higher education. Since we have the Misfortune ability that whenever we attack, we get to draw a unit out of our deck, we should be getting a bonus from the higher education just multiple times every turn, right? Once for the natural draw, one for a scout attack, one for a normal attack. Just crush through all of this nonsense. Now, I will say I noticed earlier that the Misfortune Love Tap does not count as Misfortune killing units, and so what I was really hoping that we would get to do with this run, with the Misfortune Love Tap killing units and getting a bunch of husks, just isn't coming together because it doesn't work. And so I'm kind of glad that we found the TEEMO, because what I really wanted to have happen in here just isn't a thing. And so it is what it is, I guess, but it is important to call out. So here we'll just continue to stack in Crackshot Corsairs. Happy to have that unit onto the champion item chest. What do we got here? Don't need the TEEMOs, but we can get the ephemeral copy. Very happy to snatch that up. That lets us flip the TEEMO on our first attack token. And so typically if you're playing an actual TEEMO deck to where he attacks and puts tokens or puts puff caps into the opposing deck, the Shadow Totem with TEEMO with Scout lets him get a flipped hit in on the first turn, right? So you make your attack with both TEEMOs, you get the 15 puff caps in, then he flips and you get the leveled up attack. But they're not going to be able to do that with this totem. Still exceptionally good though. Alright, so reasonable stuff. Another Crackshot Corsair to really up the power of the deck. That one drop works fantastically in here, right? We've been getting to see that work its magic with TEEMO. Otherwise, what's the power? Concurrent timelines don't really want. As far as these cards go, we do still need to find a removal spell. This is probably the place to just start burning through the draws. And so I'd really like a cheaper ended one, right? With the way our deck functions and how fast it is, we don't really want something like Crumble or Vengeance. We really want something like Concussive Palm or Homecoming, something that's really just like a not permanent but cheap removal spell. Like even Steel Tempest is probably something that I would be okay to have. And so it's probably going to be challenging to find since we are kind of in the wrong factions, but let's roll and see if anything turns up. Doesn't look like anything we want. Don't want puff cap cards. caught in the cold. Like, the caught in the cold, it's so brutal. It's like playing Expedition or playing a draft in Magic or something, to where, like, sometimes you just have to have a removal spell. And it's a removal spell of sorts. It's a fucking terrible one, but if it's going to start the game in our hand, I mean, maybe it's not that bad. Oh, God, that feels painful. I'm just taking the one copy, though, since it's kind of free. And, oh, check that level up on TEEMO, right? That was the ability I'm talking about, to where you attack and plant the puff caps in the opposing deck, so we can start hitting with flipped TEEMOs on the first turn of the game. That sounds pretty good to me. Now, here on the left, I'm going to take one copy of TEEMO so that we can add in the item. I don't want the additional 2 copies since he starts in our opening hand. I don't want to draw multiple copies of TEEMO because his flip spell is trash. But Crackshot Corsair over here to the left. The +3/+3 and Ephemeral, not something that I want, so we're going to skip over that. Otherwise, these cards aren't really necessary. None of them are particularly strong, so we'll take our leave. Right, so not a particularly interesting collection of cards. It's tough, like the manifest on the Make It Rain. Like, I guess, like, realistically, are we ever going to play a Make It Rain in this thing? I don't know. Let's just take it. I don't want the Patrol Wardens or the Monkey Idol. Both of those are fairly weak. Like, I guess if we're in a pinch, we can play Make It Rain. It just doesn't seem like something we'll ever need. And so here, as far as these go, just another special delivery for TEEMO. Jesus Christ. So that you're going to start getting this blow up in the first attack now. It's going to be bonkers. As far as these go, I'm just going to start cutting cards. If we have any additional way to cut cards out of our deck, that's what I'm going to chase down. The Slippery Wave Rider can go. And now we're in the Misfortune Mirror match. Boss round number 2. I'll completely forget that the opposing Nexus has the Tryndamere ability, and then Misfortune is when the foe's units attack, they deal 1 to the battling player's units and Nexus. It's kind of useful that all of our units have +2/+2 and just ignore that. And then our love taps deal 3 damage, and so everything about this is fair. Everything is fair. I'm going to hang on to this. Oh, Jesus. I'm going to hang on to this Bottled Constellation, maybe use it as kind of a ramp spell earlier. Wasn't really counting on 3 of them to turn up. Hey, our boy Crackshot Corsair made it anyways. This game's done. These games are also done. I can't tell if this is just a sign of things to come for how easy the adventures are. You know, I guess, like, if you take a 3-star champion into a 3-star quest, it's pretty simple. And so taking a 4-star champion into a 4-star quest is probably pretty simple as well. There. Oh my God, just so many puff caps. How many we got? How many we got? 40? You probably did that math at home. Had no trouble. No trouble doing those mathematics. How many we got now? 100. Look at that. Look at that. 90. Shit. That's close. That's close. That's all that matters, right? Whenever you're doing the mathematics. You don't got to be good. You just got to be close. All right. Easy game. Oh, he got resurrected. Why are we still here? Why are we still looking at the screen? I got him up to 191. That's a big number.
It found you.
I deal in coins and carnage.
Ready, aim.
All right.
Captain's orders.
Sorry to see you go, Misfortune. The premier Misfortune is on the other side of the table. Sucks to suck. That's what you got to come out and tell them, right? Whenever you just come out and completely smash an opponent, you gotta be mean. Oh, you've got to be mean. Take that away. Take that back. All right, cruising right up the mountain. What do we got here? And so, you know, don't need to sack in TEEMO. TEEMO is kind of interesting with the Philosopher's Stone in the sense that we'll play TEEMO. He'll summon a copy of TEEMO that's going to draw 2, and then put the +2 attack on all of our units on the board, but I just don't think that's really necessary. I'm going to pick up the barrier for TEEMO just to give him a little bit of protection in combat. And then move on to the powers. What you got for us? Anything interesting? I do like Crush. It's not particularly necessary at this point. You know, we have enough Elusive, Overwhelm, and Rally with our Scout and TEEMO out there, and so we could probably let it go. I'm just going to pick up Disarmed. You know, our units aren't dying enough to use the Haunting Hall. Like, our one TEEMO Shadow Totem should die at the beginning of the game, then that'll be probably the extent of our Hallowed. And so let's just pick up Disarmed. You know, it helped us stop things if they go wrong. And then now it's kind of interesting. We've burned through all of our rerolls, and so I'm a little bit more interested in just going towards the healer to cut something out of our deck, as opposed to just rolling the dice with the Epic Shop. And so I think we'll go into Lulu, take a cut, and then push on from there. All right, so I just went ahead and speed ran through some of the previous rounds. The games are ending on turn 2, right? There's nothing particularly compelling that's happening with this deck. The deck building, we're just taking the cheapest card that exists. We've done reasonably well with the deck building up to this point so that it doesn't matter. Now this Jagged Butcher turns up to put more puff caps into the deck. Fine, probably never use it, but you know, let's do this final battle and see what's up. And so it is the Tryndamere version of the Nexus. We'll see if we can't fight the Aurelion Soul here. It is a little bit worrisome seeing the Tryndamere thing turn up. If we do get a big, puff cap hit in, the opponent can heal through it, buy an extra turn to save them. But I don't think it's gonna matter. You know, I don't think it's gonna matter. As much as I've really enjoyed picking up these bottled constellations to cast our one Caught in the Cold, it's just this has just been too much. Attack. Opponent has that chance to take down TEEMO on the open next turn. Okay. he's already done the work, huh? We dropping emotes? Yeah, give him a little cupcake. Give him a little cupcake, you know? There's nothing challenging about this. It's been very, very easy run through here with TEEMO. But I mean, I guess that's what you get when he just starts super powered in the Misfortune deck. It's like such a strong roll. Like, I know that we've been acing these games super fast because he's also hit on the Shadow Totem and the special deliveries, but let's be real. Like, this is very powerful stuff that we're pulling off with TEEMO here. He doesn't even try and take TEEMO down. No, that is annoying with the Morgana, the Morgana Hex hitting on TEEMO, making us spend the mana, but then when he starts out with the +2/+2, he doesn't even have that much to worry about. But all right, here, this has to be fitting, right? This is what's very important for this run. We're going to get Misfortune on the board. Did you all know that Misfortune was in our deck? Have you all seen any usage of Misfortune on the day? Oh my god. Maybe we'll get her. No, we're not even going to be able to get her to flip, right? We're gonna make these attacks with TEEMO. Oh, he's got the Nexus thing. He's got the Nexus heal. Okay, okay. Maybe we will get to finish it off with a love tap. Yeah, what a dumb game. He's probably just gonna take a million damage. He's got 752 puff caps in his deck. I don't know how he's supposed to get out of this turn. Don't even have to care about Nasus because TEEMO has so many stats. All right, only got him for 28. Let's at least go for the splashy victory. Hit him good with all of the damage to face. We're gonna get the Misfortune tap, 3 Crackshot Corsairs, is 12 damage out the gates without even connecting in combat. Equinox, that's kind of lame, my dude. That's kind of lame. That's who we're going to end it with, though. If you're going to be lame, put the damage on our Crackshot Corsair. I say, watch this. Watch this. Watch me end it with our 0 attack unit. Get that shit out of here, Aurelion Soul. What a joke of a battle. And so, that was fun. Like, I had a decent time. It's ultimately, I'm curious what the future of this brings, though, right? That was, you know, fun to go through, but not something I want to do over and over again. And so I'm very interested in seeing what we see in the future in terms of higher star-powered champions. And so, like, I know that we got a bit of a high roll in this adventure, hitting on TEEMO when he gets all of the bonuses from Misfortune, but, like, how challenging would that event have been had we done that with Annie, right? When I said, like, all right, well, here's Annie, here's an opportunity to pick up a Disintegrate and combo Disintegrate with Love Tap, like, what would have kept us from doing that? Like, I think we still would have. It would have been more challenging for certain, but I think we still would have steamrolled it. It's just starting off with the guaranteed machete and the +2/+2 on a 1-cost champion is incredibly powerful, and it turns out that we just spiked through it with TEEMO because that was who turned up. But nonetheless, I'll be very interested to see how the higher level battles go. We'll battle with Lysandra in the next one and see if the 5-star Lysandra feels like much more of a challenge than the 4-star Aurelion Soul does, because that did not really feel like a particularly epic battle. And so, interesting though, good stuff. Curious to see how some of the other constellations pan out, and I'm definitely curious to see what Riot has in store in the future, right? You don't just release a bunch of 6-star champions and then not work your way up to a 6-star quest and a 7-star quest, and so very interested to see if the power level spikes and we get much more interesting battles than what we saw here. But nonetheless, good game. I had fun with that. I hope you did too, because that is going to do it for us today. So I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way, and you had a good time watching. This is Busted Me. Thank you for being here.